Fees are the #1 reason why I decided to quit Etsy, and today I'm gonna tell you why. Hey guys, welcome back to Confessions of a Girl Boss. My name is Chrissy and I help you turn your passion into your business. So today we are starting our Etsy series. So over the next few videos, I'm going to be diving into everything Etsy, SEO, fees, pros and cons, why I personally decided to switch from Etsy to using Shopify, and all of that stuff. So if that sounds exciting to you, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up down below and hit that red button, that subscribe button down below. Especially as a new channel, it helps people see my videos and it really helps me out. Plus it's free and you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. While you're at it, if there's anything in particular you would like to see in my Etsy series, leave me a comment down below and let me know right down there. I have a few videos planned, but sometimes obviously there's stuff that I miss, and I'm here to give you guys the content that you want to see. So leave me a comment down below if there's anything particular, any specific questions you'd like answered, or anything like that, and I will be sure to include them in this series. Today we are tackling a kind of confusing subject, and that is the subject of Etsy fees. And Etsy fees, like I said in my intro, are one of the #1 reasons why I decided to ditch Etsy as my main platform. I do still have my printable shop on Etsy. I will leave that linked down below if you want to check that out. I do still have that linked up there, but I did decide to move off of Etsy, and fees were a pretty big reason. So today we're going to be diving into fees. I'm going to be explaining them. Hopefully by the end of this video you will understand Etsy fees a little bit more, and it will help guide your decision on if you want to use Etsy as a platform in the future or not. If you're starting an online business and you're selling products online, fees are something that you're just not going to be able to avoid, unfortunately. They're kind of part and parcel with selling products online. There's always going to be like a payment processing fee or a hosting fee or something like that. So you're not going to be able to avoid them. I decided to start off with Etsy in particular because I know it is probably the most common platform, especially for women, to gravitate towards when they are starting an online business. And it is great in some aspects, and I will get to that in a future video, but I definitely wanted to break down the fees because Etsy fees, especially if, for example, I used to sell physical planner stickers, and they're a very small cost, right? Like I wouldn't price them. I think my weekly kits were priced like $14.95, which is the highest that they would really go. So they're a very low cost item. And especially with something like the fees that Etsy brings in, it can take a huge chunk of your sales and of your revenue. So let's go ahead and just jump into the basic structure of Etsy fees. And then I'm also going to dive in with a real life example from my shop when I did sell physical products on Etsy from like a month, how much I sold and how much of my money went to Etsy for their fees. So let's start off with the basics. So nowadays Etsy uses a system called Etsy Payments. And essentially what it is, it doesn't look any different to the customer. The customer can still decide whether they want to check out with like PayPal or Visa, MasterCard, Apple Pay, but basically on the seller's end, it is all combined into one. So back when I first started my shop, you would get 2 direct deposits. So you would have your Visa and MasterCard or Etsy payments, and they would all come through Etsy in a direct deposit. And then you would have your PayPal payments, which would all go into PayPal, and they would come directly from PayPal. But now as a seller, you get it all combined into one. So Etsy payments isn't something that is optional. They have a list of like a ton of countries. I didn't count how many countries, but I will leave that list linked down below for you guys to check out. And basically if your country is on that list, you have to use Etsy payments. So definitely check out that list to see if your country is on there. For the sake of all of these examples, I am going to be using US examples because that's where I'm based, but it does vary from country to country. But like I said, most countries do have Etsy payments and it is a requirement. One little caveat that I did want to mention is my shop right now on Etsy only accepts PayPal. And that is something that Etsy and I came up with after so much back and forth. And if you were following me back then on my personal channel, you may remember the tea from this story. But yeah, it was a lot of back and forth arguing back in 2017 that resulted in me being able to just use PayPal on my Etsy shop. If you want to hear the story on that, if you want me to spill the tea with how Etsy almost ruined my life, let me know in a comment down below and I will definitely make a video on that. But yeah, so I did just want to like give that one little caveat that that is something that is on my website or my Etsy store, but it's not something that you're going to be able to have just like off the bat. Okay, so let's dive in with the basic Etsy fee structure, and I have my laptop down here just to remind me of all of the different statistics. So Etsy fees are broken up into certain categories. So first you have the listing fee, and that is 20 cents per listing. A note about listing fees. So it's 20 cents basically whenever you list an item. So if I wanted to, for example, list this water bottle on my Etsy store, I would pay 20 cents just for people to be able to see this water bottle listed on my Etsy store for one of them. So every time you list an item on your Etsy store, you will pay 20 cents. So you pay this fee when you decide to list the item, regardless of whether you sold it or not. So you have two options when you make a listing on Etsy. You can either have it auto-renewed, which works if you have, say, 10 water bottles in stock, or if you work on a made-to-order basis and you only make the products as the orders come in. Or you can have it manual. So that would work more for if you have custom products, or if you just kind of like want to keep track of how many that you're selling and you don't want to get overloaded. That is for that. So auto renew basically works in the way if you have 10 water bottles in stock and you sell one, that listing will automatically renew and still have those 9 available on your website. And I hope that makes sense. But manual, if you sell a water bottle, it will be gone from your website until you manually decide to put it back up again. So the confusion I've seen around listing fees comes particularly when people decide they want to deactivate a product. Now, this scenario might come into play when you're running a specific promotion or when you only want specific items listed in your shop. A lot of people get confused over the ability to deactivate a listing and having to pay the listing fee again. So when you pay that 20 cents, it is good for 4 months. So if you say run a promotion and you don't want a specific item listed in your shop for that promotion, you can deactivate it and reactivate it as often as you want. You will not pay that 20 cents again unless the 4 months are up or unless that item is sold. So yeah, I wanted to kind of make that clear. I hope that makes sense. Because I've seen a lot of people who they don't want to put their shop on vacation because they're worried it'll mess with the algorithm on Etsy. So they decide to deactivate all their products, but they're worried they're going to have to pay the 20 cents for each product again. That's not how it works. Okay, so those are listing fees. Now you will pay a listing fee if it's automatically renewed. You will pay a listing fee for each item that is sold. So if you sell 5 items, you will pay that 20 cents 5 times in that one order. So next on the fee structure, you have the 5% transaction fee. And this 5% is unfortunately on both the retail price of your products and on the shipping. So you are paying fees on your shipping. I guess it's because some people were profiting off their shipping. I've never profited off my shipping, but yeah, you pay the 5% on your shipping prices. It sucks. So the next fee type you also have is the payment processing fee. Now this one is a little bit confusing because it does vary based on where you are located or where your bank account is located. So I will leave another link down in the description box for you to check out that has all of the different payment processing fees and like for which country and stuff like that. So you'll be able to check that out. But for this example, like I said, we are using US examples. So for the payment processing, this is 3% plus 25 cents because that makes sense. I don't know. So yeah, the total fees, if you wanted to add this all up, total fees are 8% plus 20 cents per item sold plus 25 cents. So it's a significant chunk. And I say it's a significant chunk because say, for example, a lot of times I'm going to be using like planner sticker examples because that's the background that I come from. Say for example, you have a planner, a sticker sheet that is $2 and you have the 8% plus 45 cents on that one sticker sheet. If you sold one sticker sheet, it's a pretty significant chunk of your sales. And especially when in this day and age, a lot of people are looking for coupon codes. A lot of times people have 10% coupon codes floating around. So that's an additional 10% off. And it's a significant chunk. So I don't want you to think, oh, it's only 8%. I definitely think this 8% needs to be kind of encapsulated in your pricing structure because it does add up. The next part of Etsy fees that we're going to talk about is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but it is Etsy's new off-site ads policy. So starting in May, Etsy are going to be running ads with your products on different websites, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, anywhere you see ads, essentially. They're going to be using their budget and their experts to run ads of your products. So the idea behind this is if someone clicks on your ad and they make a purchase within 30 days, Etsy is going to charge you 15% of that purchase. 15%. That's a lot. So yeah, not the most exciting update in the world. I could see where it could somehow be beneficial. Like there's no risk to you involved, there's no budget that you have to fork out, there's no risk that like you'll spend money on ads and they won't convert. But honestly, it kind of sucks. So basically, if you have made over $10,000 in the last 365 days, which they will be looking at this on a monthly basis, it's not a calendar year. So if you haven't made $10,000 this like in a year as of April 1st, but you have as of May 1st, you will automatically be enrolled. So if you have made over $10,000 and you are automatically enrolled, I believe the fee for that is discounted to 13%. If you've made less than $10,000 in the last 365 days, it is optional for you, which is good. And I'm pretty happy about that. It is optional, but your fee is 15%. So like I said, I could see how it would be beneficial, but for people who do this full time, it kind of sucks that the threshold is $10,000 because I feel like for a lot of people who do Etsy full time, that is something that is met super, I don't want to say easily, but it is a goal that's not super lofty if it is your full-time income. So to force people to do that for 15%, it's a lot of money. Etsy offsite ads is coming. It's a thing. You can't get out of it unless you've made less than $10,000. But, you know, the goal here is to make more than that. So, yeah. The last part of the Etsy fee structure that I wanted to talk about before I go into the real life example is Etsy Plus. And Etsy Plus is something that was relatively new when I decided to switch off of Etsy. It is essentially giving you access to better tools within Etsy's backend system. So it is $10 a month and you do get different ways to customize your shop with different cover options and different ways to kind of lay out your listings. You get 50% off a custom domain or a free .my store domain for a year. You also get back in stock notifications, which do come in really handy. I do like that feature. And you also get 15 free listing credits and $5 in advertising credit, which works out to be $8 right there. So Etsy Plus is really up to you. I mean, it's $10 a month. You could try it out for a few months and decide that if you like it or not, but it is something that Etsy is pushing. Okay, I'm moving on over again because we're going to go through my real life example. I did bring my laptop up here because I'm going to have to read this out. So I have a real life example from when I was selling on Etsy in November 2017. That is the furthest I could go back, which was really frustrating because I do know my biggest sales month ever was January 2017. So I wanted to share that with you, but I didn't have it. So November 2017, I had my Shopify store already launched, but what I did when I launched my Shopify store is I kept Etsy open with some higher prices because Etsy fees do kind of suck a lot of money out of your listings, like I've showed you, or off of your bottom line. So this was a Black Friday month. It was a particularly good month for the Etsy portion of my business. So the gross sales were $2,917.50. So that is what I made before anything was taken out. So for transaction and listing fees, I paid $222.82. For card processing fees, I paid $112.27. Out of that gross amount, $289 was also for shipping, that people paid in shipping. But I wanted to include that because you do pay the fees on shipping. So after all of those fees, the net sales were $2,293.41. So the fees for this example, if you wanted to round it out, because I know the 20 cents listing fee and the 25 cents processing fee, you can't really, like, that's not a percentage, right? But I did a percentage, so that is 11.5% of my gross sales, which, again, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're taking into consideration, it was Black Friday, so there were a lot of mega discounts. I can't remember if I think I did the same, like doorbusters and pretty big discounts on my Etsy store. It's a significant loss from the amount you price your products for. So that's something that I just wanted to stress to you, just to take this into consideration. Not only taking into consideration the discount codes that you're going to be providing for your customers, but also to take into consideration the Etsy fees that do come out of it. I am going to be talking a little bit later on in the week or next week about if I think that Etsy is worth it, the pros and cons of having an Etsy shop and stuff like that, because it is a question you need to ask yourself. And I mean, I do still have my digital stuff on Etsy, and there are definitely pros to having Etsy, especially if it's not something that you want to maintain on a regular basis, if you kind of just want to like list things and go. So that is my breakdown of Etsy fees. I hope it was helpful for you. I know it was a bit of a longer video, but I hope it was helpful. I hope you gained something from it. Let me know down below if any of this was surprising to you, or if it kind of, even as a customer, if you're watching this, if it kind of made you rethink anything when it comes to shopping with your favorite shops. Like I said, this is the start of our Etsy series, so over the next few weeks we will kind of be diving into Etsy in a lot more detail like this. So I hope you stick around, and I hope you subscribe, and I hope I see you in my next video. So have a good day, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Bye.